Welcome to another edition of New Sports Outlaws podcast. As always, I am Nick. This is Dan. Dan, not the most events happening this week, but we do have enough happening in the world of sports to warrant our normal weekly podcast. Dan, how you doing?
Yeah, at this point in the year, we're kind of waiting for football training camps, waiting for the NBA Finals, I guess, to finish up so we can actually start talking basketball. But luckily, since the NBA Finals is not over yet, and everyone tells us that this is going to be the least watched NBA Finals of all time, we now have a team that has not made the NBA Finals that disinterested, as the New York Knickerbockers have made the next 2 weeks before free agency very, very interesting. So they'll definitely give us a lot to talk about, especially I'm sure this week. I'm sure next week too, if the finals are still going on. Yeah, we got some Yankees and Mets, so let's do it.
Yeah. I don't want to start off the podcast in a bad mood, so if you don't mind, I feel like we'll start the podcast off with some baseball. And I got to be fair, my baseball open in my notes this week are the New York Mets. The New York Mets are 8-1 in the last 9 since Tommy Lugauer has taken his attention away from the Knicks, and Positive Tommy is on the Mets bandwagon. They're 8-2 in their last 10, 13-3 in their last 16. They have the most wins in the National League and one game behind the Detroit Lions. Tigers. Behind the Tigers for most wins in the league, one game away from them. Yeah, I mean the Mets are on fire, and they got a series coming up with Philly. That if they bury Philly, you could be looking at a runaway division for the New York Mets.
Yeah, last week or maybe even 2 weeks ago, I guess we were talking about. And I mean, yeah, I mean when the Mets were in their little bit of a slump, I guess, or at least playing 500 ball, and the Phillies I think had won like 5 straight before they went into their little slump. Phillies, I believe, were a couple games ahead of the Mets, I believe, 2 weeks ago. Now I believe it's 5.5 games already. They're already out. They're the opposite. You said they were 8. Well, they're 8-2, and Mets are 8-2 in the last 10. Phillies the opposite. They're 2-8 in the last 10, and they're 5.5 behind. And like you said, if they sweep the Phillies, then all of a sudden we're looking at 7, 8 out before like by the end of June, and that's I mean, as a Met fan, you never want to say it's over because we know how Met collapses work in September. But the Mets are definitely, again, they've taken advantage of the Rockies and the Nationals now this week. And the Rockies they are bad, but to sweep the Rockies to sweep a team's not easy. I know, I guess we could say that for a lot. Rockies have only won 10 games. The Yankees didn't sweep the Rockies, for whatever that means. But yeah, no, the Mets won. Unfortunately, I say Juan Soto is starting to look a little better. He's up to the 250 mark for the Juan Soto fans, so he's hitting well. Alonso's he really took advantage of the Rockies pitching, that terrible pitching they have. He destroyed the Rockies this past weekend. He's kind of being talked about into their whole MVP conversation now. But yeah, the Mets look really good right now. They're beating up on the Nationals, I believe, as we speak. I believe it's 4-0 again on the Nats. You got to say good things for right now. You kind of laid it all out there. They're best team in the National League, second best in the MLB. I believe they're only half like a win. I think they're tied in the loss column behind with the Tigers, but one win less. They look really good right now. Nothing much to say.
I mean, the Alonso whole National League MVP conversation. Let's call a spade. They had this conversation about Judge versus Shohei, but if Shohei throws even 80 innings, a 75 innings, and he does it to any type of decency, he's gonna win the MVP again. And it's not. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have second and third place guys, but it's not gonna even be close. And of course, the best player in Major League Baseball is the guy behind me. And it is no contest. I'll use that as our pivot into our New York Yankees. And that home run last night was insane.
Yeah, that was 469, I think it was. I want to say that was like that fastball just didn't land. Yeah, no, he's still going. He's still on that. It definitely seems like 400 is definitely a goal for him. No matter how unexpected we expect it to be. Like he's been below that four. He's been at that 395, 397 mark for a couple weeks now. And I think we've been expecting it to maybe dip a little lower. It'd still be really good. I mean, 370, 380, still really like tremendous. But he's still at that. I believe he's at 395. And he's just going. It's like even against Yankees have been kind of 500. I believe they're 5-5 in their last 10. So they've been between losses with the Red Sox series. Um, so that wasn't a good look, especially on Sunday Night Baseball, where our pitching looked absolutely dreadful. That's kind of been a strong point this season for the most part. It was absolutely dreadful um, over the past weekend. But yeah, no, it's Yankees are looking all right. They're actually really hitting well. They're hitting well lately. Everyone looks really good. Goldie's been a little bit of a slump. He's kind of, I know he was batting 350, 360 kind of towards the beginning of the year. He's kind of, I believe he's batting 180 in the past 10 games. So he's down. I mean, he's at 300 still, but he's definitely been slumping. But our hitting's looked really good, even though our pitching hasn't looked great. Obviously, Luke Weaver doesn't help that, especially with the bullpen. And Rodon didn't look good his last time out. So, yeah, we are hitting really well. We're still doing all right. We still got the second best record in the AL. We have the third best record in the majors. So I know it's not really much to complain about right now. Um, but yeah, they're still looking really good. Just got to, the pitching. I mean, Fried looked good yesterday. We need Rodon to kind of get back on track in his next start.
Yeah. I said Judge is unreal. The Red Sox series sucked. A little bit of a struggle, 5-5 in our last 10, and yeah, Rondon didn't look good for the first time in a while. Goldie though today had a nice little hit in that extended inning. I know it's Kansas City, but you can't changes on your schedule. Goldie had a nice hit. Rice had a nice hit. Yankees, I think, are currently at 5-0. Correct? My TV went out.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. 5-0.
5-0. Yeah, listen, John Carlos Stanton is on the horizon as well. I know we said our offense is doing pretty well, and we're gonna have another option at our disposal here very soon because I don't anticipate John Carlo will be rehabbing long. I think they said it was going to be yesterday and today, and then they'd reassess. I mean, he went 2 for 3 yesterday. If he does anything in the game today and looks anywhere near like he did yesterday, I could see them even saying, all right, let's go. All he's going to play is DH when he gets in. He's not going to play every day. I would think that with the rotation they're going to have between the outfielders and the infield options they have, that Stanton will get time, but he's not gonna be 100% the DH until he's fully back. But and he'll apparently we can think through from a certain distance. He's progressing in his rehab too, but I don't think we see him till All-Star break time.
Yeah, definitely with Stan coming back, it's going to be up to kind of Boone to kind of definitely play around with who's playing in terms of with Ben Rice. I guess with Goldschmidt too, because I don't. I mean, I doubt. I mean, I know Ben Rice used to be a catcher, but I don't think they're going to be playing him at catcher. It seems like it's first base for Ben or bust or DH, I guess, obviously. And it's gonna kind of be a little bit of a carousel with them between Goldschmidt, Rice, and Stanton being first base and DH in the lineup. Um, and I guess we're gonna have to see. I guess maybe it's who's hot. I guess, or I guess lefty righty.
Matchups.
Um, that's probably what it's gonna be. But I mean, I hope that doesn't. I'm okay with Goldschmidt. I mean, Goldschmidt's gonna play mostly every day, but like, hope that doesn't mess up Ben Rice a little bit because I know if not, just putting in verse righties and Stanton versus lefties because obviously with Stanton he's a rhythm guy, especially, and if you just play him twice a week or 3 times a week, you don't want to. I mean, same thing with Rice. That's the only minor concern, but again, you really can't not have Stanton in the lineup either. So and Ben Rice has been really good this year. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a nice juggling act for Aaron Boone to kind of figure out. Hopefully it doesn't affect them, when they, however it goes between standard race.
Yep, and and then we'll see how that progresses. And something else we're going to see probably sooner than that progress is the situation in the basketball ranks of my team. Just choked away the Eastern Conference final and then decided to fire the coach. I think you can attest and defend me here. I was a guy, I said this last week too, I didn't think Tibbs had to be fired. But I am also a guy, I've talked to you in the last couple of days, that if you're gonna fire him, fine. But what's your plan? Like what are you going to do? Is there a guy like when the Golden State Warriors fired Mark Jackson, they knew they wanted Steve Kerr. They knew they wanted Steve Kerr. Now listen, if it's Johnny what's his name, at this point, fine, it's Johnny what's his name. But show me that was your plan. It feels like the Knicks plan, as I wrote down, was to call every team and go, hey, are you upset with your coach? Would you like to trade him to us? Like, that's what I felt like. That's what I feel like their plan is right now.
I've never seen anything like this before, like ever. This is like a first. I'm not like obviously we've heard of coaches getting traded before. Jason Kidd's gotten traded from the net. The Nets traded him to the Bucks the 1 year. I know there's been a couple others. What I've never heard. I mean, again, I know social media and all that stuff is more rampant than ever now, but like you just fired a coach after your first trip to the Eastern Conference Finals 25 years. And that's not even the concern. It's just like, all right, you fired him. Like you said, I'm repeating what you're saying. Like that's like have a name out there. You got to you fired him 72 hours after the game 6 against the Pacers because whatever players, owner, whatever. And then your plan is to to tell to quote or try to get every coach to interview, not even try to interview you. Between the Minnesota coach, Ime Udoka, Jason Kidd, might as well call the Nets. Call Jordy Fernandez. You might as well ask
They
Jordy
broke.
Fernandez from the Nets.
They broke a couple minutes ago. They also called the Hawks for their coach.
Quinn Snyder. That doesn't it's crazy how that happens, and it must have been really bad that the players said that they had to get rid of Tibbs. It must have been. It had to be. You can't just fire him. And you could have fired him next week. What's the difference if you fire him 3 days after to next week? It doesn't. I I am buff. Every time I see something from Shams that comes out on Twitter about they're trying to get people to allow this interview, allow this interview, allow this interview. What is going on? It really makes the Knicks front office, who've been really good over the past few years, it's making them look like how they were before that, very dysfunctional.
Again, if they thought they had to make a change, fine. I just wish post making change, we'd see more continuity. I think they floated this at WFAN today. It's like, what if this was just all a ruse? What if their plan is already in motion and has been in motion and has not hit any bumps, but what we see makes it look like it's a chaotic mess all over the place? I don't know, because you know what? Where there's smoke, there's fire, and the smoke says chaos, and trying to find a head coach to get us to the promised land. And when you had a head coach that you knew that got 250-win seasons, got you to Eastern Conference Final, and you let him go on the hopes to upgrade. And now, if you let him go and you quote unquote downgrade, that's a big swing and a miss. So that's worrisome.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, for your sake, that it's like that. It's all a ruse, and maybe after the NBA Finals, I mean, I know I texted you a couple days ago, so maybe this is just a thing where they can't make news until after the finals. But obviously, Shams is just reporting stuff every day that they're sending out invites to people trying to get permission. So I don't know how that's different. It's crazy right now. I mean, it's just looking really bad after such a really good season, and I know it ended badly, but for this to kind of happen to doesn't look like a good look right now.
Yeah, and quickly because you mentioned Shams, a lot of names been floated out there. It'd be nice to have the coach, to know what system that we're going to run, to know if a player is going to fit that system. But KD's name was floated out in the last day or so. A couple of days before that, it was Giannis' name floated out there. And I'm talking specifically about, at least in connection with the Knicks. Not that they're either one's going, or not that I want either one, but there's been some news as to, yeah, KD trade could happen to the Knicks, but it's unlikely. Yeah, a Giannis trade could happen to the Knicks, but it's unlikely. I mean, gut feeling, do you think they make a trade for a big player, or is it more role players?
Um, Obviously, it depends on the coach. I mean, it seems like that the whole thing that was floated around when Jason Kidd was a possibility. The whole thing with Jason Kidd and Giannis, when Jason Kidd coached Giannis a couple of years back, 3 years back, and so that was a whole thing for a little bit. Yeah, I think it's going to be a little. I think it's going to be more small. I don't think they're going to be able to get rid of Cat because it seems like the ones that want to get rid of Giannis, like say Phoenix and Milwaukee, they want to rebuild. They're looking to tear everything down and rebuild, and giving them Cat. I think giving up Cat is the only way they can go about doing all of this because they don't have the number of picks that they used to have when they gave up for Mikal Bridges. But so I mean, giving up Cat, not why you're going to start over by getting Cat, who's good enough to not be dreadful, I guess. So I think it's gonna be really difficult because I think they would have to trade Cat in order to get one of those two players. Um, but I don't think. I think it's going to be more small. I think Josh Hart is actually more on the block. Um, Players like that,
Yeah. I mean,
maybe even
real
Mikal.
quick, you remind me, I had another name I wanted to tell you about with the coaching situation. But real quick, while you're talking about trades and specifically Katie or Giannis, because I think those are the two biggest names that have been floated out there. And I think I took you by surprise a couple of days ago when I said I'd rather have Katie than Giannis. Like, what? Here's why. I know he's 37. I know he's made of glass, but first of all, if you're Phoenix, they're not rebuilding. They're retooling. They cannot trade Beal's contract. It is unmovable. They don't want to trade Booker. So you're not going to break it down in the middle of their careers. You could possibly retool and get rid of KD. And I think Cat would work perfectly with those two because he's a bigger body. He is going to help a little bit more rebound wise than Durant is going to. And he still gives him the long range game. And I think I'd rather have KD over Giannis for the Knicks because KD's only 1 year, even though he's eligible for an extension. If you think that this isn't going anywhere, guess what? You let him walk next year, or you work out a sign and trade with somebody for KD. So I think there's options there that aren't there with Giannis. I think we've both agreed Giannis is not going to age well. So I don't know about Giannis, and that trade's even more convoluted with the matching of the numbers and stuff. Phoenix trade could also happen another way if you were able to swing Bridges and Hart. And Evan was saying today, I think I side with him on this. Phoenix never wanted to get rid of Bridges. They only got rid of him because they were bringing in a 34-year-old Kevin Durant. So, I mean, obviously they're like, we got to do it for Durant. Would they be interested in Bridges and Hart? Would I want Bridges and Hart for Durant? Probably not, because then you're talking about Cat, KD, and Jalen all starting, all huge liabilities defensively. Unless the Knicks want to go into next season thinking we're going to score 130 and beat everybody, well then you better hold them to 128 because that defense scares me.
Yeah, um, I'm with you, I guess, on that part of it. But I mean, considering, I mean, I know it goes a lot more than just money and players, but to say that if we need Bridges and Hart for Kevin Durant and then for ancillary pieces, obviously, like you can't tell me you can't do that trade in a heartbeat, no matter how bad the defense is. I mean, you can't tell me. Yeah, I know it's bad, and I know it probably wouldn't work because Durant. You can make Durant work with anything. It's more the Cat who needs ISO, Brunson who needs ISO. I mean, Durant, he'll get points. You just give it to him, and he'll be ready to shoot. He'll play at anything. But yeah, no, I agree it wouldn't work. I mean, but just saying piece for piece or whatever. I'm just watching Judge Flow. That you can't tell me you wouldn't do it again. The fit, but though that would be a bad fit though for you guys. I agree with that.
You're right.
Um,
In a vacuum, no brainer. But we're
yeah,
thinking.
you have other things to think about. That's why I think Cat's almost unmovable. Like Abil is really unmovable. Cat is really the next thing. I mean, he's not old, but he's 30. I believe he's turning 30 this year. Whatever, it's not old, but I mean, I know we say Giannis isn't going to age well. Cat looks like an old person. He moves like an old person. Yes, he's a bucket, but you think he's going to do the same thing when he's 33, 34, 35 years old? I don't see him being the same way. I mean, if he's slow now, imagine him in 3 years. Unfortunately, I I think they kind of made a mistake a little bit I think their window for a championship is like next year if they stick with Cat. Like I don't see Cat holding up. He just looks so like old. It looked really maybe just how I never remember him being this slow at Kentucky, in Minnesota, anything like that. And it was really like hard to watch,
Hmm.
on defense wise.
Yeah, I get you. I totally get you. But Danny, what's not hard to watch is the sport of football. And we'll close up shop this week talking at least a little bit about things that have happened across the landscape. We had some mandatory OTAs occur last during the week since we last talked, and we also had right after we posted last week and we talked about Aaron Rodgers signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Possibly he finally ends this long, drawn out tango with the Pittsburgh Steelers and signs a 1 year deal that's, I think, guaranteed for 10 and could go up to like 13 if he hits incentives.
I all I know is Mason Rudolph better stay ready. All I know is I think they have Skylar Thompson. I believe they signed him from I believe he's out there too. He better stay ready. This is not going to last long. It's the same thing I saw with the Jets, and I said this last year, probably in August when we were first starting this podcast. Aaron, it just wasn't going to work. It's just, I know Salas was the greatest coach. Obviously, Old Brick wasn't great either. Tomlin is not an offensive coach. It is not going to go well when Rodgers is on McAfee every Tuesday talking crap about something. And he's gonna be as McAfee's gonna poke Rodgers, try to find every little thing with Tomlin or whatever, and Tomlin is going to hate it. And they face the Jets. Let's just hope they don't lose to the Jets on week one. Let's
Come
just
on.
hope the Steelers don't lose to the Jets on week one because it's already going to be a problem.
I know you're anti Rodgers, but we got to be in unison rooting for like a 400-yard game, 3 touchdowns, no pick. Could you imagine what WFAN with all those freaking Jet fans on that radio? How WFAN will sound the day after the Jets lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers like 24-10, and Aaron Rodgers throws 3 or 4 touchdowns and no picks. They would be crying, and we'd be able to hear them from Jersey. That'd be so poetic. I would love it, and not to mention. I got Aaron Rodgers on my dynasty team. It might have been just a giveaway in a trade, but I need him to produce.
Probably knowing Aaron Rodgers, week one might be his Super Bowl. He might just want to go into week one this year, prepare his ass off for a week one so he can destroy the Jets. And then what you should do as a dynasty owners is you should trade him at the highest value to whatever. I don't care, a fifth round pick, whatever the highest pick you can get is, because you know that his Super Bowl is the Jets. And that, yes, we'll be in unison there. I can't wait to hear all the Jet fans on there cry about what could have been with Aaron Rodgers. But again, after week one, so we could be in unison until week one. After that, it's not gonna be good for them.
No. A couple of things I saw in my research today and heard a little bit. Obviously, that the Giants had some fights going on at OTAs, and also Brian Burns is being used all over the field, um, which makes me think the draft pick. I'm losing his name for a second. Abdul Carter. Sorry. which makes me think they're lining up Abdul Carter opposite of Tibbs and then using Burns as the guy who bounces around where they see a weakness in the offense. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I've heard from Giant Camp. Um, Nothing really comment on it, just something to keep an eye on. Cam Ward looked good, apparently OTAs, but Cam Ward looked pretty good. Rashee Rice is a name that are going to talk about, especially when we talk about fantasy. Was having a great year with Mahomes, and then got hurt. And I don't think his suspension is going to have any effect this season. I think they were talking about it maybe affecting next season. So for your redraft leagues, that'll be a name that you're going to want to hold on to. And apparently, Travis Hunter showed all types of ball hawking skills when the ball's in the air. And the last piece of info I have for you for training camps, Dan, Sam Darnold looked like poop. And Daniel Jones is taking the team's
Starter,
I
Daniel.
my friend who's the vice principal at my school, who's a huge cult fan, I said to him a couple weeks ago, I go, do you want my prediction? Daniel Jones will be your week one starter in Indy, and he might not start every single game, but I think he starts the majority of games for the Colts this year.
Yeah, being a Anthony Richardson fantasy owner last year, obviously he had high hopes for last year. Didn't work out too well. Then he got injured or whatever. And he's already injured, it seemed like, in OTAs or whatever this year already. So, I mean, for Anthony Richardson himself, this is a big year because this could be the bust. This is definitely bust potential. But that's why they went out and got Daniel Jones. And he's got a second chance to show why he was a top 10 pick. And I think he could be a better person to run that offense than Anthony Richardson could be because he's got a similar skill set, big, strong, fast. And he's got, maybe not have the arm that Anthony Richardson has, but he's definitely a lot better quarterback right now.
Yep.
So I definitely see Daniel Jones getting his shot over there to kind of redo his future, to kind of restart on his future.
Yeah, definitely not as fast as Richardson, but has a similar skill set as far as he can throw the ball and he can run the RPO. So I believe that they won't miss a beat. And listen, for all his defense, Daniel Jones, he's a much more accurate thrower of the ball than Anthony Richardson. So with weapons like Pittman out there, I believe that they can do some damage. But we're gonna get more into football as our preseason here goes on. Already starting mock drafts, about 10 in so far, just all over the board. This is the time of year everybody is texting their groups and seeing everybody's still in this year, and are there going to be any rule changes, and you're starting to get ready for drafts coming up, in the very near future.
Yeah, no, definitely. Probably gonna be a little slow. I believe OTAs are kind of over after this week or even next week because everyone gets kind of like a little few weeks off until the middle of July, which I believe when most training camps open up in the middle of July. So yeah, probably a little more. I think we anticipate. So according to both of our predictions, the NBA Finals is supposed to be over in 5 games, and I still think that's definitely a possibility. So if we're kind of doing the math here, it could be over by the next time we do a podcast. And maybe we get some more NBA. We'll have the NBA draft coming up, so we could talk Brooklyn Nets for longer than 30 seconds. Maybe we could talk to them for about a minute. And then we get more into the Knicks, and we'll get into definitely a lot more trades, I'm sure, with Giannis, Durant, and everybody else. Go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead. You're going to say something?
Oh, no, I was going to say, here's what I wanted to say to you, and I forgot when we're back on Knicks. I know there's a name that's going to tickle your fancy here. A name that came out today, the Knicks apparently were asked if they would be interested in. I think you might have sent me the article, and the Knicks rejected it. Was none other than Doc Rivers.
It was a great meme I had to send you. When it said Milwaukee wanted the Knicks to interview Doc Rivers, and the Knicks said no. It might have been the funniest thing ever. I don't know how Doc Rivers still has a job. I don't understand.
Give me Mark Jackson before you give me Doc Rivers.
Mark Jackson's he's being, no one wants to hire him. It seems like he's not even on TV anymore.
Yeah,
He is
but
just,
you wouldn't take a chance on him before you take a chance on bringing Doc Rivers in?
yeah. Hey, at this point, the Knicks might have to call Tom Thibodeau back and try to re-offer him. Like, Tibbs, I'm sorry, we had a chance. We thought we were going to get Jason Kidd. We thought we were going to poach. All of a sudden, we want to come back.
It's like when you break up with the girlfriend. You break up with the girlfriend and you go out like 3-4 weekends in a row and you're like, I can't
There's
find
not,
it.
there's not that many
Call
fish
my
out there.
number. How you doing? I'm sorry. Take me back, please.
I'm sorry. Please, here's some more money. Here's some more money. Come back. Take us back to the Eastern Conference Finals. Boston sucks. It's Cleveland's gonna get rid of the pieces. It's all up to you. We believe in you again. We believe.
All right, Dan. That wraps us up this week. Good podcast. Sign us off.
Yeah. All right. Keep following and liking on X, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We'll definitely get more reels out there. I know we haven't done any in a little bit. We'll get some more reels out, especially when it comes to fantasy football coming out. So until next time, I'm Danny. This is Neil. Signing off.